Bela Lugosi, born Bela Ferenc, Dezes Blasco on October 20, 1882. In Lugos, Hungary, now Lugos, Romania, would rise to become one of the most iconic figures in horror cinema history. Raised in a modest household, his father was a banker, and young Bela showed early signs of interest in the arts, especially theater. Though his parents initially hoped he would pursue a more stable profession, Bela was drawn to acting. By his late teens, he had joined traveling theater troupes and studied at the Budapest Academy of Performing Arts. He began his career on the Hungarian stage in the early 1900s. Taking on both romantic and dramatic roles, in 1913, he married Ilona Schmick, but their marriage was short-lived. As World War I broke out, Lugosi served as an infantry lieutenant in the Austro-Hungarian army, where he was wounded multiple times. After the war, political turmoil in Hungary led him to flee to Germany and later to the United States, arriving in New Orleans in 1920 as a seaman. Despite the language barrier, Bela found his way into the American theatrical scene. With time, his commanding presence and exotic accent found him roles in silent films. His breakthrough came in 1927 when he portrayed Count Dracula in a Broadway stage production. The performance was a sensation, and Universal Pictures cast him in the film adaptation of Dracula in 1931. His portrayal of the vampire legend, haunting, unforgettable, defined the character for generations and made him an overnight star. However, this success became a double-edged sword. Typecast as a horror villain, Lugosi found it difficult to break into other genres. Despite starring in several other horror films such as White Zombie 1932, The Raven 1935, and Son of Frankenstein 1939, he struggled financially and professionally as newer actors entered the genre. Off-screen, Lugosi faced many personal challenges. He was married 5 times and endured turbulent relationships. He battled chronic sciatica and developed an addiction to morphine and methadone prescribed for his pain. His struggles with addiction were publicly known, and in 1955, he voluntarily entered a state-sponsored treatment program. He became one of the first Hollywood stars to publicly acknowledge and seek help for drug addiction, earning both criticism and admiration. As the years passed, his career waned, and he began accepting roles in low-budget B-movies, most notably. With director Ed Wood, these roles included films like Glenn or Glenda and his final performance in Plan 9 from Outer Space. Released posthumously, despite the diminishing quality of his projects, Lugosi never lost his dignity or passion for acting. He continued to wear his Dracula cape proudly, even in public appearances, reminding fans of his unforgettable contributions to horror cinema. In his later years, Bela lived modestly in Los Angeles. As his health declined and roles became scarce, he faced financial hardship and personal isolation. Yet he remained a beloved figure among horror aficionados. His final years were marked by a mix of nostalgia and quiet struggle, far from the glamour of Hollywood. He spent many of his final days attending fan events, where he was greeted with admiration and gratitude from those who cherished his cinematic legacy. Despite his fame, Bela Lugosi never enjoyed the financial stability that many of his peers did. By the end of his life, he was living in near poverty, often depending on the kindness of friends and loyal fans. One of those friends, filmmaker Ed Wood, remained devoted to him until the end, casting Lugosi in what would become some of his most infamous films. Though controversial, these films ensured that Lugosi's image would be preserved for future generations. Bela Lugosi died of a heart attack on August 16, 1956, at the age of 73. In accordance with his wishes, he was buried wearing the cape from his iconic Dracula role. Though his final days were far from the spotlight, his legacy endures. Today, Bela Lugosi is remembered not only for the chilling elegance he brought to Count Dracula, but also for his resilience and contributions to the golden age of horror. His influence has permeated generations of actors, filmmakers, and horror enthusiasts. The image of his piercing stare, the hypnotic cadence of his voice, and his haunting elegance remain fixtures in pop culture. For fans around the world, Bela Lugosi is more than a horror icon. He is a symbol of artistic dedication and the enduring power of cinema. His likeness has inspired countless homages, Halloween costumes, and parodies, underscoring the lasting impression he made on popular culture to honor his legacy. Numerous film festivals, fan clubs, and retrospectives continue to feature his work. In 1997, the U.S. Postal Service issued a commemorative stamp in his likeness, celebrating him as one of the great legends of Hollywood. His son, Bela Lugosi, has also worked to preserve his father's memory, advocating for recognition of Bela's contributions to cinema and fighting to protect his image rights. Even decades after his passing, Bela Lugosi remains a figure of fascination and reverence. His journey from war-torn Europe to the stages of Broadway and the studios of Hollywood is a testament to perseverance, talent, and the human spirit. Though he battled demons both real and imagined, his artistry triumphed, giving the world a character that would never die. May his soul rest in peace.